888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243, Larry Elder, ReliefFactor.com studio. So much to get to, so little time. Protesters in Asheville, Portland, Nashville, and Chicago tried to create one of these Seattle-style autonomous zones. It did not go well for the protesters. Reverend Al Sharpton remembered George Floyd as, quote, an ordinary brother, close quote, who changed the world. We're going to find out how ordinary Mr. Floyd was later on in the show. Now, New York City has hired a bunch of people to contact trace people who have coronavirus. However, it turns out that they are not allowing the tracers to ask anybody whether they went to a Black Lives Matter protest. They want the people to volunteer that, but that will no longer be on the question form. You remember that black man who, after Trump won the election, went on YouTube, posted a video where he laughed hysterically at the people who thought he wasn't going to win? Well, that gentleman is back and has posted up another very funny, entertaining video. We're going to play some of that for you. But the big news is that another black man, quote, unarmed, close quote, I say, quote, unarmed, close quote, because you're going to hear more details about that in just a second, has been shot by the police in Atlanta. The officer who shot the suspect has been fired. The police chief of Atlanta has resigned. Now, before I get into that, I tweeted this morning. I knew it was going to have a huge reaction because it's something that everybody's been thinking, but nobody said out loud. And I said, yes. I, as a young black boy, had what some people call the talk, capital T, with my parents about how I should behave if and when I am stopped by the police. Now, I must have missed the part where after my mom and my dad told me, be polite, cooperate fully, I must have missed the part where they then added, resist violently, and if possible, run. I recall Hillary saying, parents tell me that they have the talk, because she's letting you know she knows the lingo, the talk. 72% of whites, when you add those two numbers together, said that they were either very satisfied or somewhat satisfied with the police. Guess what percentage of black people said that they were very satisfied or somewhat satisfied with the police? 72%.
Hi, Larry. I just wanted to mention that I'm a police officer in Colorado, and I have a grandson who wants to become a police officer just like me, and his favorite cartoon has been canceled because one of the dogs on the cartoon of Paw Patrol has been canceled. This is getting ridiculous.
888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243, Larry Elder, ReliefFactor.com studio. Getting ridiculous indeed. Now, you've helped build MyPillow into the fantastic company it is today. That's why Mike Lindell is giving back by making face masks and giving them for free to hospitals around the country. You can also get great discounts on all MyPillow products. Just go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and check out these buy one, get one frees. Supima MyPillows, Giza Dream Sheets, MyPillow towels, Roll and Go Anywhere pillows, duvet covers, Giza pillowcases, bolster pillows, neck pillows, and if you buy Mike Lindell's book, What Are the Odds? From Crack Addict to CEO, you're going to get free shipping and a $25 gift card. So just go to MyPillow.com, enter promo code Larry, or call 800-890-1843. Be sure and use promo code Larry. Let's play this body cam footage again. This is about a minute right before the fatal shooting of Rayshard Brooks of Atlanta.
I'm not sure. It was, like I said, it was her birthday, and it was my daughter's birthday, intent to, have a good time. And I said, babe, I'm hungry. Let's go. My baby's mom, she was there. I said, babe, go ahead. I'm cool. Here's the money for the blow-up bed tomorrow. Here's the money for to enjoy herself tomorrow. You know, give me a burger or something. Just take me home. I'm ready to go.
So you had about 1.5 drinks, but you don't remember what kind of drinks they were?
No, sir.
All right.
I really don't, Mr.
All right. I think you've had too much to drink to be driving. Put your hands behind your back for me. Here, put your hands behind your back. Hey, stop fighting! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! You're gonna get tased! You're gonna get tased! Stop!
An attorney for Mr. Brooks said this.
I mean, I think they were just releasing the full surveillance video of, the parking lot. I'm sure there's more video. Like I said, witnesses have video of some of these horrific actions. In that video that GBI released, you also can sit there and count how long they let that body lay on the ground before touching him or even trying to assist him. So, the video is helpful for us. It's also helpful to show that they were far apart when he's running and pointing backwards. But the case law in Georgia, a taser's not a deadly weapon. So they can't say it's not like he was running off with a gun. It's not a deadly weapon. I lose cases against officers who use it on my clients because it's not a deadly weapon. And I'm saying that, they shouldn't have done it. But you just can't have it both ways in this. If it's not a deadly weapon, his life was not in immediate harm when he fired that shot. Just was not. It wasn't. And I watched one of the most conservative police chiefs commentating today, and even he said that there were other options he could have done, and that a taser isn't a deadly weapon. Ask Taser, is a taser a deadly weapon? I promise you they're going to say no.
Is it just me? When you struggle with an officer, you take his taser, you run, and you turn and you point the taser. Let's assume the taser had gone off and the officer has been tased, and now the officer's on the ground. Does the suspect then pick up the officer's gun and shoot him in the face? I mean, honestly. The lawyers said for the defense, for the victim, for the family, says there are a number of ways this could have been handled. You're damn right there are a number of ways this could have been handled. Most notably, cooperating. Everything was fine until he blew above the legal limit, and the officer said he's going to handcuff him, and then he starts struggling with him. Look at the video yourself. You're chasing a suspect, he turns around and points something. You don't know whether it's a taser, you don't know whether it's a gun, you don't know what it is. You're supposed to err on the side of assuming it's non-lethal and assuming the taser were to strike the officer. What was going to happen then? Would the suspect have continued running, or did he go back to the officer? And then, after all, he struggled and took away his taser. Does he take away his gun? Is it me? Attorney for Rayshard Brooks.
Another thing, that some of the witnesses said is they didn't do a sobriety test. There was no count to 100 or whatever it is and walk this line. They said that they were just talking. And it seemed to be a decent conversation. And then all of a sudden, one of the officers grabbed him and told him he's under arrest.
That's not what I saw. What I saw is some device. He asked him to breathe in it. He did. The officer looked at it. Clearly, it was above the legal limit.
So this started from nothing. This wasn't a bank robbery in progress or anything violent. They just told him he was under arrest. And now.
May I also ask a very simple question? However you feel this went down, what makes you think it's race related? If it had been a white guy who was fighting with the cop and had taken his taser and then ran away and then turned around and pointed it at the cop would not have shot him? When studies show that officers are more hesitant, more reluctant to pull the trigger against a black suspect than a white suspect, one could even argue he might have even been more quick to shoot him if he had been white.
Now I see that they're reporting, it was a suspected DUI or he fell asleep blocking the line. He wasn't blocking the line. And they didn't even do a sobriety test from what the witnesses right there said. So why was he even under arrest?
He blew above a legal limit. the cop is required to arrest him, required to make sure he doesn't get back in the car, required to have the car impounded. At least that's the way the law works out here. I was just looking at a table of drownings over the last 10 years. Roughly about 400 blacks die in drownings every year. That's substantially higher than the number of unarmed black men who are shot by the cops every year. I don't know anybody who's ever drowned, let alone a black man who's ever drowned. But it happens far more often than unarmed black men are killed by the police. Is this thing? I don't think this thing is on. We'll get this fixed coming back.
You're listening to The Larry Elder Show.
This is Owen Strand for townhall.com. A call is going out now for the dismantling of the Minneapolis Police Department. The president of the city council said this when asked about what to do in the case of a break-in.
Yes, I mean, I hear that loud and clear from a lot of my neighbors. And I know, and myself too, and I know that that comes from a place of privilege, because for those of us for whom the system is working, I think we need to step back and imagine what it would feel like to already live in that reality, where calling the police may mean more harm is done.
There's no doubt that our cities and communities need restoration, including greater peaceful engagement between police and citizens. Yet the idea that wanting protection is privilege is not sound. In fact, it's absurd and won't restore anything. Police who act unjustly are accountable to the rule of law and must be. But there is no need to qualify what a society without police will look like. More harm will surely be done. May coming days bring greater safety and meaningful restoration. I'm Owen Strand.
ADF, fighting for those whose religious freedom is being violated. Trending now on the Dennis Prager Show.
That's a good question to ask a leftist friend. Do you agree with Lincoln said that America is the last best hope of mankind or of the earth? Bet you they would say no. Typical article I have here, The Atlantic, which produces massive amounts of nonsense by intellectuals. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's become nihilistic. We are living in a failed state. The coronavirus didn't break America. It revealed what was already broken. And this guy's a staff writer, George Packer, for The Atlantic. I invite George Packer onto the show. It's useless. It's useless. They never debate. Isn't that interesting? Why don't they debate? We would go on any of their shows, any. I remember being on CNN. Don Lemon used to invite me pretty often. And everybody else disagreed with me. I don't care. I'll go on MSNBC. But they would never come on here. And then they would never have us on there. That's the point. The self-delusion of the left that they are the world of reason. That's what's so amazing. We are the irrational in their eyes.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today. Trending now on America First with Sebastian Gorka.
Exclusive from General Flynn. This is at westernjournal.com. Freedom is oxygen, like the air we breathe that keeps our lungs full and our hearts beating. The celestial feeling of freedom brings a sense of peace to our souls. Freedom must never be taken for granted. Securing our freedom demands a high price. And that price requires hard work and sacrifice. Both will bind us all by the value they produce, but only if we are willing to seek new opportunities and new ideas. Those who have sacrificed the most, those who have given the last true measure of devotion that derives from the love of faith, family, and the cause of freedom, for all of us to be free and for the betterment of our republic and the free world, cannot be allowed to have died in vain. Theirs is the ultimate sacrifice, and heaven is their reward. Our future, the future of our children and grand.
All across America, The Larry Elder Show.
Hey, Larry. I don't like it that they're defining the killing of this poor guy as a racial incident because it was a white guy killing a black guy. It was a wrong thing that he did. It was horrible, inexcusable. But why does it have to be racial? You trying to create animosity between blacks and whites? We're brothers under God, okay? Thanks, Larry.
888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243. Larry Elder, ReliefFactor.com studio. A Trump advisor got into a really interesting exchange with CNN's Brian Stelter, a Trump hater from way back. It was very entertaining. Chris Cuomo says, who says protesters have to be peaceful? Well, actually, the Constitution does. You ever read the First Amendment? People have a right to peacefully assemble. Maybe he's waiting for the movie. 888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243. As I said, I was looking at CDC tables of drownings, whether it's swimming pool or natural water or boating or what have you. And over the period of around 10 years, 4,130 blacks have drowned. That's an average of about 400 a year. Well, and last year, according to the Washington Post, there were 9 unarmed blacks shot and killed by the police. Altogether, 15 unarmed black suspects shot and killed by the police because some were killed without using a firearm. But altogether, according to the Washington Post, there were 15 unarmed black men killed by the police. There were 19 unarmed whites who were shot and killed by the police. And I'm sure the number is higher when you add in those who were killed through some other means other than a firearm. Any way you slice it, as many, if not more, unarmed whites are killed by the cops every year, as are unarmed blacks. When do the protests start? Now, as I mentioned, 4,130 drownings over a period of 10 years of blacks. That's an average of 400 a year. So that means, at least last year, a black person was 26 times more likely to die from a drowning than to be unarmed and shot and killed by the police. Is this thing on? Now, I know a lot of black people. I don't know anyone who's ever drowned. I know of a black kid who drowned in I think it's middle school. He wasn't a friend of mine, but I heard of him. I don't know anybody who's been drowned. Black. 400 times a year. Far more often than are unarmed black men killed every year by the police. Where's Black Lives Matter? Absolutely no perspective whatsoever. On Fox News, Chris Wallace pointed out that blacks are 2.5 times more likely than whites to be shot by the police. My girlfriend turned to me, we were watching, she said, that's not right. I said, yes, it is. And when you consider that young blacks, anyway, are around 8 times more likely to be a homicide victim compared to a young white, one could argue that that number is lower than one would have predicted based upon the crime rates of blacks. There is a video put out by somebody called Colagero Getz called Race, Homicide, and the Numbers. Here's part of it.
We know that if a white person encounters a black person, there's a 1 in 76,000 chance that he is going to be murdered by him. If a black person encounters a white person, there's a 1 in 843,000 chance that he's going to be murdered by him. But what are the numbers if you are black and encounter another black person? So for that, we'll take the 39,445,495 black people in the country and divide it by the 2,600 black people they murdered in 2018. Okay? If you are black and you run into another black person, you have a 1 in 15,000 chance that he is going to kill you, okay? So, let's think about that for a second. If you're white, if you run into a white...
People shot and killed by the police last year, 19. That number clearly is somewhat higher when you add the non-gun deaths by cops of unarmed whites. When did the protests happen? When did white people start burning down Wendy's? When, after O.J. Simpson was found not guilty of murdering 2 whites, a double homicide he clearly committed, When did the riot take place? When did the buildings get burned? In many of these cities, the cities are run by Democrats, including black Democrats in some cases, as is the case in Atlanta. Police chief, female and gay, she's resigned. The department reflects the racial composition of the city, which is what the activists claim that they want. And they're still burning down a Wendy's. Why? Because you don't think justice will be served? Brian in Alabama said, after taking Relief Factor for 3 weeks, at least 90% of my pain is gone. My pain had begun to limit me in my mobility and my ability to get things done and working at home. I'm amazed at the relief I've gotten. I should have started taking Relief Factor a year ago when I first heard about it. Well, what's your excuse? 70% of the people who order the 3-week Quick Start go on to order more. It can be at your home in a couple of days. ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, 800-500-8384, 800-500-8384.
Live in the painfreerelieffactor.com studios, it's the Sage, Larry Elder. Do not leave town.
Trending now on America First with Sebastian Gorka.
Exclusive from General Flynn. This is at westernjournal.com. Freedom is oxygen, like the air we breathe that keeps our lungs full and our hearts beating. The celestial feeling of freedom brings a sense of peace to our souls. Freedom must never be taken for granted. Securing our freedom demands a high price, and that price requires hard work and sacrifice. Both will bind us all by the value they produce, but only if we are willing to seek new opportunities and new ideas. Those who have sacrificed the most, those who have given the last true measure of devotion that derives from the love of faith, family, and the cause of freedom, for all of us to be free and for the betterment of our republic and the free world, cannot be allowed to have died in vain. Theirs is the ultimate sacrifice, and heaven is their reward. Our future, the future of our children and grandchildren, and the future of our country are at stake. God will not give way to the care of the devil or allow us to be left to the evil vices of those who would steal our freedom in the dark of night. He will not. Instead, God will stand with us as he always does. Hard work and personal sacrifice still very much matter. Being a good person and showing kindness to others still matter. Is that General Mike Flynn, my friend? Or is it Pastor Flynn? Wow.
Keep up with what's trending. Subscribe on YouTube today.
Welcome back to the Larry Elder Show.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
But even Dr. King's assassination did not have the worldwide impact that George Floyd's death did.
888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243, about the assertion that George Floyd's death had a bigger impact on the world than the death of MLK. We're going to talk to MLK's niece, Alveda King, tomorrow in the first hour, so stick around for that. The zip poll question I left you with on Friday. In all the major national polls, Joe Biden holds a lead over President Trump. Do you believe President Trump will get reelected? 96% said yes. A lot of optimism. Here's the one for tonight. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Joe Biden is under pressure from the left wing of his party to pick a female running mate who is a person of color. Do you think Joe Biden's pick for a running mate will be a female of color? Either yes or no. In order to participate, you must be a member of the Zip community. Go to your app store, download the Zip app by searching on the Zip Poll USA, and you must use my code SAGE, S-A-G-E, in order to participate. What's this? Joe Biden referred to members of a Confederate heritage group back in 1993 as fine people. A new video clip shows him saying that. Yikes. Can't have that. And President Trump has pronounced the shooting death of Rayshard Brooks as very disturbing. I'll tell you what's very disturbing to me. The fact that this principal of a urban high school in Chicago named Finger High had to literally map out routes to and from school so that her students would not be killed by gangs.
Finger High School Principal Liz Dozier is on a mission to give her kids a shot at a better future.
But there's a larger ongoing gang conflict within the community, and the school, we sit like in the middle of this.
Gentlemen, not gonna happen, not today, not today. Keep it moving. Get out of the street. I'm not gonna say it again. Get out of the street.
He's headed southbound on 112th and Emeralds. Principal down, and I broke my shoe. Can you send someone for me on 112th and Emerald? I broke my shoes.
An important part of Principal Dozier's job is to keep tabs on gang conflicts and make sure her students are safe at school.
So she's literally sitting down with her staff, making maps, giving them to students so they can follow the map to lessen the chances of them getting one of those to whom it may concern bullets from a gangbanger. And we're talking about the rare instance in which an officer shoots a black person. Kids can't go to and from school without a map showing them how to avoid dangerous areas. Are you kidding me? Going to be on the Hannity Show in about a half hour, along with Leo Terrell. Stick around for that. I am Larry Elder. Let's do this again tomorrow. Salute.
That's enough. Put down the mic. I want to thank Larry for the job he's done.
All across America, the mic has been dropped. The